Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max. සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න. Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max. සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න.
අර පිරිමැස්ම ගැන හිතන ඔබට Vim Liquid වෙතින් රුපියල් 100ක ඉතිරියක්.
හරිම සුළුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Saturday, the 7th of January 2023. Severe losses. SPC incurs some 95 million rupees in losses through dopamine injections and AOPIN drug purchases. No excuse. Organizations monitoring elections calls on government to have election and not hide behind false excuses. Interconnected. Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe says that they're working towards integrating a digital ID with all financial services.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Andrew Bernard. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to AdaDerana 24's English News. In your top story for tonight, the 2020 annual report of the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation has revealed a staggering loss of 49.5 million rupees incurred by the corporation after officials deviated from the stipulated procurement guidelines when purchasing dopamine injections. From the amount, a total of 23.2 million rupees had also not been recovered from the main supplier by the SPC. The report further mentioned a further loss of 46.7 million rupees incurred due to a false urgency created to import AOPIN drugs used to treat kidney patients. According to the 2020 annual report of the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation, the Medical Supply Department of the corporation had invited competitive bids for the purchase of 120,000 5-milliliter dopamine injections used for heart patients. Following this, steps had been taken to purchase one injection at 33 rupees and 43 cents from a selected supplier. As such, they had allocated a cost of 4 million rupees for the purchase of the 120,000 vials of the drug. However, due to the delay in the order, the annual report shows that 12,994 dopamine injections of 5 milliliters each had been purchased from a local representative of the main supplier at 940 rupees per injection. Further, another 14,995 vials were purchased from another supplier, making the total purchase amount 26.3 million rupees. According to the report, although the difference between the price of the main order and the price of the local market purchase is 2,712%, the Technical Evaluation Committee and the Procurement Committee had not paid attention to this detail. However, according to the procurement conditions, the additional cost incurred due to the delay in the supply due to a fault of the supplier, amounting to 23,231,048 rupees, has also not been recovered from the main supplier. It has also stated that the main supplier was informed that the samples would be tested by the corporation's laboratory, instead of the samples being tested through an Indian laboratory as prescribed as part of the procurement conditions before the samples were shipped. Even though the supplier had informed his unwillingness to proceed with this arrangement, the order had been placed. The report further stated that even though the vials are required to have a 12-month shelf life at least, the shelf life of 1,200 vials were only 10 months. In the meantime, the report also went on to state that a cost of 44.6 million rupees had been incurred for the purchase of 7,000 AOPIN, 1,000 IU injections given to kidney patients, procured immediately to the Medical Supply Department. Although this procurement should be completed in 8 weeks, it had taken almost 2 years to complete, resulting in a cost of 1,179,757 rupees, brought on due to the depreciation of the rupee against the dollar. Further, even though the estimates of the purchase of 3,000 injections of this drug had been made by the Hambantota District General Hospital and the Colombo South Teaching Hospital in 2018, the hospitals had not received the drug even by the 6th of July 2020. However, 1,388 units were distributed to 10 hospitals where estimates for the drug had not even been presented. It is reported that by the 16th of July 2020, another 5,612 injections had remained with the medical supply department. Accordingly, the report shows that the drug called ipotine had been procured with urgency, despite any lack of clear urgency for the drug. Now, although the government continues to argue that the country lacks the funds necessary to hold the local government election, institutions set up to monitor the polls say that the budget allocation of 10 million rupees is adequate to carry out the election. The main opposition, the SJB2, voiced concerns and stated that the country needs to have the election to signal to the International Monetary Fund and other organizations that the government has a clear mandate to go forward.
මේ රටේ බරපතල ආර්ථික අර්බුදයක් පවතින කාලයක්. මැතිවරණයක් පැවැත්වුවහොත් මේ සියලු තත්ත්වයන් පැත්තක තියලා මැතිවරණ කාලයේ අවසාන වනතෙක් ඒ කියන්නේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ ගණනාවක් ඉල්ලියුම් කරලා තියෙනවා ඔවුන්ට රජයේ විසින් පියවිය යුතු හිඟ මුදල් පියවන්න. ඉතින් මේ පියවීම් සියල්ල පසකලා මේ මැතිවරණයට අවතීර්ණ වීමට සිදුවේවි අමාත්‍යාංශයක් හැටියට
අපි අවධාරණය කරන්නේ
This is a serious time. The country is undergoing a serious economic crisis. If an election is held, the situation will have to be kept on hold. Many sectors have asked the government to settle loan commitments due to them. The Ministry of Finance will have to engage in this, putting all these on hold. There are 6 organizations that observe elections, but none of them have voiced their opposition against the local government elections. We are all of the opinion that elections should be held. The President has summoned the Election Commission on 2 occasions. The President summoning the Election Commission and questioning them, and at a time when there has been a clear division in Parliament over the matter is not democratic, legal or ethical. As organizations that observe the election, we see this as an attack on the independence of the Election Commission. We cannot accept the argument that the government does not have necessary funds to hold an election. 10 billion rupees has been allocated through the budget for the election. As such, the government does not have a way of avoiding the election.
It is time that this country conducted that election. We know, as a political party, the people of this country will make a very, very intelligent decision as to who they are going to cast their vote for. People of this country will choose the Samagi Janabalawegi, the SJB. We have confidence that our economic development program, our leadership, and the team that we have will be successful in this election. We know that other political parties in this country have fooled the people. They have given false promises. But the difference between them and the Samagi Janabalawegi is that we are going to implement a development plan. By winning the Pradesh Sabha, we'll be able to implement what we have been promising so far. We are confident that the Election Commission will not shy away, will not neglect their duties. We are confident that they will ensure that the people of this country will have the opportunity to express their views, to cast their vote and elect local government councillors. And we are also confident that the people of this country will give a clear message to the government, may it be the Puhottua or the UMP, that the people of this country no longer trust the Puhottua or the Rajapaksa family. The economy is in a very bad state. For the foreign countries and the IMF to give us money, you need a clear mandate. What they are stating is, let the government show a clear mandate. We are not going to waste money. Therefore, the government needs to conduct an election.
Now, in the meantime, an 18-year-old who had been involved in the theft of credit card information of at least 500,000 people and the purchase of goods using such information has been arrested and remanded until the 12th of January. The police stated that the suspect had brought goods ranging from electronics to food exceeding 5 million rupees. An 18-year-old who purchased goods worth millions of rupees using stolen credit card data had been arrested in the area of Dumalasuriya in Kurunegala. The arrest was made on the 5th of January based on the intelligence information received by the Computer Crimes Division of the Criminal Investigation Department. A complaint on the No multi-day fishing vessel carrying 29 kilograms of heroin was intercepted off Mirissa. The heroin consignment was taken into custody in an operation mounted near the fisheries harbour in Mirissa based on a tip-off received by the naval intelligence officers. According to the police, 5 individuals who were aboard the multi-day fishing vessel have been arrested. The arrested individuals were found to be residents of Mirissa, Kamaguru via the Pitigala areas. Now, the Colombo city will experience a 18-hour water cut from tomorrow from 10 p.m. tonight. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board has announced that the water supply interruption will be imposed to several areas in Colombo until 4 p.m. tomorrow. Accordingly, Colombo 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 10 and 11 will experience water supply interruption starting from 10 tonight. The National Water Supply and Drainage said that the move owes essential maintenance work of development projects related to the transmission pipeline system that supplies water to the Maliga Kande reservoir. Stay with us for more news after this short commercial break.
It's hard to keep up with the new when you're listening to the same old Slim Bread Week. A week for professionals.
The Wall Street's main indices all gained more than 2% after December payrolls expanded more than expected, even as wage increases slowed and services activity contracted, easing worries about the Federal Reserve's interest rate hiking path. Labor Department data showed that US non-farm payrolls rose by 223,000 jobs in December, while a 0.3% rise in average earnings was smaller than expected and less than the previous month's 0.4%. In another set of data, US services activity declined for the first time in more than 2.5 years in December as demand weakened, with more signs of inflation easing. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 700.53 points or 2.13%. The S&P 500 gained 86.98 points or 2.28%. And the Nasdaq Composite added 264.5 points or 2.56%. Friday's rally boosted the benchmark S&P and Nasdaq enough to snap 4 weeks of declines. For the holiday-shortened week, the S&P rose 1.45%, while the Nasdaq added 0.98% and the Dow Jones advanced by 1.46%. Fed officials on Friday acknowledged cooling wage growth and other signs of a gradually slowing economy, with hints of a 0.25 percentage point hike at the next policy meeting. Still, the Fed last month projected an interest rate target peak of around 5% and said it would keep rates high until inflation is where it wants it to be. Now, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, says that Sri Lanka is looking towards implementing a digital national identity card system in order to have it integrated with the financial system. Speaking at a panel discussion on the topic South Asia's Path to Resilient Growth, organized by the International Monetary Fund, he said that this will provide greater financial inclusion for all sectors of the country.
When it comes to central bank, there are two areas. One is the payment settlement infrastructure and digitalization, and making much more efficient payment and settlement infrastructure that can go down to the bottom of the pyramid in terms of delivering social safety nets and financial inclusion, and even more than the areas like, for example, paying taxes, minimizing tax evasions and other customs, inland revenue, excise duties, all these areas. Basically, I think this is where digitalization can play a great role. One of the issue, I think key one there is a digital ID is key one. I think this is where in Sri Lanka what we are trying to implement digitalization in financial sector, key one, especially given AML safety new regulations and the national digital ID and linking that for the financial services is, I think, the game changer. That's where we have been a little late and we are trying to implement. Once we do that, that can be the very useful instrument that can link all the financial transactions that will help financial inclusions and will help financial literacy even and services to all the areas, and that will improve obviously efficiency, productivity that we are talking about in the book. We talk a lot about digitalization and other area is obviously central bank digital currency that I think we are not there yet, but we are looking at carefully what RBI is doing, and that's where I think.
Now, the central bank says that it decided to restrict commercial lenders' use of overnight deposit facility to park excess liquidity and earn interest to a maximum of 5 times a month, pushing banks instead to utilize domestic money markets. Issuing a statement, the central bank said that some banks have shown an over-dependence on overnight financial equities offered by the central bank which are available to be used as fallback options after utilizing all other funding options. The central bank said the measure, to come into effect from January 16th, will support the revival of the domestic money market, which has been largely inactive for the last few months. The statement added that these measures would also eliminate unhealthy competition for depositors among financial institutions and would be instrumental in including a moderation in the market interest rate structure of both deposit and lending interest rates in the period ahead, along with improving market liquidity conditions, which will help restore stability to the Sri Lankan economy while preserving stability of the financial system. And that's all the news we have for this evening. Join us again tomorrow for the very latest news at the very same time. Tune into our social media pages for the very latest news. Until then, have a pleasant evening and good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.